Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to your snippet. This is the Dream Clairvoyant. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I do hope you guys are having a fantastic week. So I just recorded an exclusive reading, and I decided to give you guys a snippet of what the reading is about. So if you're interested in viewing it, it's going to be linked in the description box, and I'll also pin it in the comment section. So it should be the very first comment that you see. But this reading here, my goodness, this reading, it reminds me of the biblical story of Esther. You know, Esther was born into misfortune. And you can actually read about Esther. You can read about her in the Bible, or there are many videos about Esther here on YouTube as well, or Google. But the spirit of Esther represents a child of God who is very obedient and disciplined. And, Esther was born into misfortune, but she didn't allow that to blind her from having faith in God and believing the good plans that he had for her. So by the time Esther was born, her parents died, and it was her uncle who raised her. And Esther is actually of Jewish descent. And at that time period, the Jewish, they were seen as like second-class citizens. They were treated very poorly. And Esther was so beautiful, and nobody knew that Esther was Jewish. And her uncle who raised her actually advised her to not make that known. And it's not to hide her heritage, but it's so that she would have an upper hand and an influence. I don't want to say upper hand, but it wasn't to hide her heritage. It's so that she would have an influence that ultimately saved the people of her heritage. Esther saved the Jewish people of that time. Esther was so beautiful that the king, the ruler at that time, was just so enamored by her and ended up marrying her. And, the people didn't know that their queen was of Jewish descent. But of course, like I said, her uncle told her to keep it hidden because she can really use her husband's, the king's, power and influence to help the Jewish people. And indeed, that's what happened. There was an executive order put out to kill all Jewish people in the land. And Esther was the one who had to petition for that order to, not be made. And she ended up saving her people. And it just reminded me of this reading that I just did, because you have a wealthy man who we've been picking up for weeks, maybe even months. And this wealthy man is so enamored by a feminine energy. I feel like this wealthy man at this point, it's almost like he's drowning. You see him here as the King of Cups. It's almost like he's drowning in his feelings and emotions about this woman of God here, who really does carry the spirit of Esther. She has no clue. Maybe she knows, maybe she doesn't, but she has no clue that a wealthy man has been hot on her tail and has been passionately pursuing her. And he's nervous. He's never felt this way. This is a man of power and influence, yet he's nervous, right? And that's what happens when you encounter a woman of God. They're very powerful in the spirit. And he knows that he can't pursue this woman of God in just any way, okay? He knows that he has to be on his best behavior, but he has some bad behavior. Now, this is not a wicked or evil man. This is not someone who is of spiritual darkness, but he does carry humanistic tendencies, right? Like, he has a lot of money, so he tends to use his money to influence people, places, and things in order to get what he wants. Okay? And you'll find that sort of characteristic in most people of affluence, just being honest. And he's been doing everything, like, it's almost like a cat and mouse game, but he hasn't been able to get this woman. He's been doing everything to pursue her, but it's just not working. And it's not working because God is shaping him into the man that he needs to be in order to be with her. So this woman of God here really represents what this wealthy man could have if he chooses to follow God. It's almost like she is the gift, the reward, that just, she's like a diamond, like a precious gem, very rare, very hard to find. God truly took his time training, developing, and transforming this Esther here, this modern day Esther, this woman of God. And she is priceless. She can't be bought. He may have a lot of money, but his money cannot buy her. And it's because in order for him to access her, he must go through God first to be with her. It's also spiritual, but he's having a hard time seeing that because this is a man of affluence. He lives in a material world. But he will have to choose. We all have free will. He doesn't have to do anything that he doesn't want to do. But in order to be with God's, in order for him to be with a daughter of Christ, he has to go through Christ first, right? He has to get God's permission first. So he's learning. I feel like at first he didn't want to learn. He wanted to get his way and it didn't work. It probably even, I saw some things during the reading and you'll see it as well. It just ended up causing a big problem every time he would try to pursue her from a place of ego. But this woman has, I truly see here that the divine has given this woman a lot of power and influence. Her power is shown by not aggression, not control, but her power is displayed by influence, the influence that she has over people, places, and things. She is a Hierophant. She is anointed. The Hierophants are the people who have been chosen to guide, lead, inspire, teach the masses, touch the lives of other people. And so as the Hierophant, people naturally are inspired by her. And the divine has given her a lot of power and influence over this man. But she isn't going to abuse it. She's going to use her influence to inspire those of wealth, status, those in high places to do righteous things. These sorts of people, this man, as you can see, he's even showing up as high honor. This is somebody who is of high ranking. And these sorts of people, they tend to live in a bubble and not really care about things that the average person would care about. And sometimes when people have so much power and status, they may even lose empathy for others. So the things that he typically wouldn't care about, he now has to care about it because Esther cares about it. So it's almost like this woman, her role is far bigger than she may know. Okay, yes, this is pertaining to her love life, but this relationship, this connection has a higher calling. She is being positioned amongst people of affluence, people of wealth, power, and status. and she has influence, the good kind of influence, which is why they are so enamored by her. And they're doing everything to access her, but in order to access her, they must go to God first. Okay? But she has a higher purpose in this connection, and it is to be of positive influence so that this wealthy man who is in a position of power and influence can make good decisions that will help people. He will make decisions for the greater good of all, and not just himself, not just his family, not just people of his status, but especially those who are in need, those who are vulnerable, defenseless, those who are innocent, those who don't have a voice, and those who just simply need help. Okay? It's almost like she's being used as a guide. She will guide this man to doing godly work. This is a modern day Esther. I sensed it immediately when we were doing the reading. So it's a beautiful story. And if you're interested in viewing this reading, like I said earlier, it's going to be linked in the description box, and it'll also be linked in the comment section. I'll pin it. So yeah, you guys, I hope you guys are having just a lovely week. I feel like the month of April is bringing in some really positive news for many of you. So please keep the faith, keep your head up high, and all is well. Take care, everyone, and many blessings to you.